I really need to think. We need to reevaluate how we speak of ourselves. I think we need to reword things around, change the way that we speak of ourselves. Most time, for instance, let me give you an example. If you're homeless, you don't happen to have a home. You don't have to put yourself under that label. You have to necessarily somebody ask you, who you are or what do you do for a living or what you currently up to. You don't have to say I am homeless. Um, what you are is not homeless. What you are, you're a human being, and due to your circumstances, you are not in a dwelling. You're not living under a roof. These are all outside circumstances, and the perception of what you are due to your circumstances is that in reference to what it is when somebody has the complete opposite, which is to have a home. So in reference to that, you're homeless in comparison to that. But what you are can never be that concept, because you are home. This is your home. This temple you're currently in right now is your home. Your body is your home. When you're not in your body, then yes, you're body-less. That's about it. Even then, you won't even be aware that you're body-less, because obviously when you pass away, you leave your brain here, and you won't have no really self-perception of self, because it'll obviously die off, and your memories will just remain in consciousness. That's a different conversation for later on. But either how, anytime you say I am something, you give power to that, and what you are stops after I am. I think is really important, because you introduce these concepts to your mind, and then you believe to be that, and whatever the definition is to that which you're labeling yourself as. So if you say I am depressed, you're describing your current circumstances, and your thoughts revolved around that as being you. You identify yourself that, therefore giving power to that, therefore becoming that of what you speak of. So I'll be real careful about what you say, what you are, versus currently being in a situation and having some type of emotion going through you right now, which you identify as being linked to some sort of way of thinking, which can go under the umbrella of depression. But you don't necessarily should say that you're that, because if you do that, then you give power to that. Therefore, you shall become that, because you've spoken into existence. And I'm a big fan of that. Like, people ask me, who am I? I might say, my name is so-and-so, but that name was given by my parents. I've met plenty of people with my name, and they're not me. They don't look like me whatsoever. I have a whole different personality, so I could never really become the name. The name actually means something to me, because I believe that what my parents has named me has become me. But if you're woke and you really know who you really are deep down, if you're self-aware, then you know that you're not that name, that you only reference it because you've been called that your whole life and you're believed to be that. So obviously if I walk away and you call me by my name, let's say my name is Jonathan, I'm going to turn around and believe that's who I am, because I've been programmed to believe that is me. But if I walk away and you call me a stupid ass and I turn around, then I'm acknowledging that inside of me, I believe I'm a stupid ass. Any existence of what you believe you are only exists inside of you, and it will only be triggered if you believe you're that. So for instance, if you call me another name that's not me, I'm going to turn around and I don't believe it's that. So your whole reality, it's really based on you, inside of you. It's nowhere else. It exists in your mindset. So mindset over matter, and that's all it really is. And you know what? That's the gift that we have as human beings. We don't have any other gift. We can't create out of thin air, right? We can create thoughts. We have the power of imagination. And that's the gift we've been given, that we could expand those thoughts and imagination, and therefore then create out of those thoughts and imagination. But what we're creating is not gonna manifest out of thin air. We have to use our resources, which is already available to us, right? We don't have to come up and have an extra limb or think of any other ideas of how to make this human body function. It's already functioning for us. We don't have to create the process of having babies. It's already happening for us. Like, everything around us has been created. So the simple fact that men have lived in this world where they seek to drive, and they feel like if you don't accomplish something, then you're not really accomplish anything, and you need to have all these goals and you need to pursue. That's all great and stuff, but that's all related to what you wish to create in this world. Meaning that, we were given this life without having to stress. That was the whole point. This is why we can, breathe. Like, we don't have to worry about air. We don't have to worry about finding another planet to be able to sustain us. That's all been given to us. So we don't go into this like stressing about anything. Like the body was given to us. And if you think about it, and I always say that there really is no problem. Anything you perceive as a problem, the mind might have a problem with it, wants to perceive it as a problem, but none of the things that could come to your life is a real problem if you start to look at it in a different perspective, in a different way. And what I mean by that is, one of the ways I look at things is, God forbid something comes into my life, like a form of disease or some unfortunate events that take place. And at a day, thank God I'm being liberated from a body that can no longer sustain my spirit. It can no longer sustain me living in this space. It's going to cause me pain, so it will liberate me from experiencing all that pain. And you might go through some pain to get there, but sooner or later it's going to be done. It's going to end. We're talking about emotional traumas, whatever it is. Like, you got to tap into the present moment, man. Once you're present, you don't identify yourself with your mind, and you don't really have space to live in a mindset where it's driven by fear. Fear is one of the things that will paralyze you, man. Fear, you can apply that to anything. You can have fear of just being alive and thinking what might happen tomorrow. Well, there is no tomorrow. That's a concept. Time is a construct. It's not really real, but it's real to you. It exists. You believe it. You believe that, for instance, you believe that there is a Monday, and therefore you hate Mondays. It's like, how can you hate a day that doesn't even exist? I mean, where do you see this Monday that you speak of? Is it in the skies? Is it all around you? Like, where is this Monday you specifically are referring to? And these emotions you have towards it, it only exists in your head. It exists nowhere else. It's all the programming in your mind. You do have the right to create your reality, and that is the gift you've been given. So if you want to make it a dark day or a light day, you're not going to change the function of the universe. It's only, the clouds is there, the sun comes up, the moon is there. I mean, it's all happening all at once, and it doesn't happen in reference to you. It's just happening. It doesn't happen in reference to your timing. It's just going on. One of my famous quotes that I have, when I say famous, I mean that lightly because it's not really famous, but it is my set. A tree will always be a tree, and it will always age. It's only when the tree calls itself a tree that the ego is born, and only when it's introduced to the concept of time that it becomes old. And it's really true. I mean, the tree is unaware of these things, unaware of these labels, so it's just doing what a tree does. It's just being. And sometimes we have to be just that. We're just spiritual beings, and anything we touch, anything we breathe, anything we see, we enlighten, because we're enlightened beings. So we enlighten that of which we focus on. We enlighten that of which we taste. We enlighten that of which we touch. We bring it into existence just by being here. Just by us being in this universe, we derive light out of the sun. We derive hotness out of the sun as well. We're all relevant to this experience, and what we are deep inside is what's driving this whole universe. But we sell ourselves short, and we don't wish to believe that we can become that, because that's too big of an ego, I would guess. From an ego perspective, I mean, how can an ego claim to be part of the universe? That'd be insane, right? People look at you like, this guy's crazy. But on a spiritual sense, if you don't identify yourself with your ego, then you will be able to tap into that wisdom. And when you identify yourself as that, again, that's the ego doing that. It has no identity. It is partaking in everything that's going on. It has no self-perception of self. I mean, the mind creates a self-perception. But behind the mind, man, that's where you got to tap into, man. And that is going to bring you so much peace, so much joy. You're no longer going to respond to what's going on outside of you, knowing that it can only affect you depending how you feel inside. You could change your whole perspective, man. It could be completely different. So, yeah, that was my message for today. Let me get back to eating. Peace.